Please give us a like so it spreads around the word of the most triggered snowflake millennial you'll ever know. This is CUST Corner!
CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. CUST Corner,
Not the name of the show. I am not a triggered snowflake. I fight back against these things as the People's Tribune and an internet maven.
You realize that by fighting back against all of these things, it makes you just seem triggered and like a snowflake, right?
Oh, really? So Maximus was a triggered snowflake by fighting back as a gladiator against his opponents? I don't think so.
Nah, he didn't have the internet.
Yeah, you go to Twitter and then get mad when people disagree with you.
I don't get mad. I don't.
You sound mad. You sound mad right now.
No, what people have to understand is if they have less followers than Tim on Twitter, their opinions obviously don't matter. That's all he's trying to say.
Well, I would have said fewer because I would have said it correctly. But yeah, listen, I very rarely take that shot, and only when somebody's being very mean.
When you say very rarely, it's like the number one thing people know, besides cursing things
and lists.
Making fun of people for the amount of followers that they have is like your go-to thing. It's the only comeback you have.
I may have done it like 5 times since I've been on Twitter.
Oh, I think we should get the Paul Shaughnessy crack research team on that. Because all you need to do is type into, actually, I can probably just do it from my phone right now. So how many times do you think that you've done it, Tim?
5 times, 6 times max.
Oh, so now we're up to 6 times. I'm searching. What do you think I don't even need to put in followers. I can just put in Laugh Riot because he always calls them a Laugh Riot. And yeah, this one even from Paul just says he's obviously a Laugh Riot. So, let's see here.
He actually defended me against a troll.
Oh, that's admirable.
The amount of followers he has.
Oh, 1, 2, 3 right away that just come up for your 17 followers must think you're a Laugh Riot.
I'm sure that person did something very mean.
7, 8.
We're already past the max.
All right, so I'm just scrolling down past the 3rd page, and I already have 13 instances of this happening, and that's only dating back. That's only dating back to last October.
There's no way that I did it that often.
There's tangible evidence in Pat's hand.
Well, if that's what he says, I can't see what he's got.
Oh, you could never do the exact same thing.
He doesn't know how to do that.
Oh, that's fair.
And again,
so don't mention how to do it because it's really funny because he doesn't know how to do it.
I'm not allowed to give it back once I get it. I see. I just have to shrug my shoulders when somebody throws.
It's not that you're not allowed to give it back. It's just that you should maybe vary your ways of getting it back. You're like the comedian who, regardless of what the burn is, just is like, nice shirt, buddy.
That sounds like something Tim would say, but he wouldn't say it as aggressively.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I really like that shirt.
But you ran that shirt past your 17 followers on Twitter.
You must be a Laugh Riot. Okay, so the main reason that we're here today is to discuss this MSN article that came out.
Wasn't aware they still put out articles.
Neither did I. It was a slideshow.
Yep.
So they ranked chain restaurants by, not based on their quality or how popular they are, it was based on like consumer branding, like how tied are people to these selected brands, and like, strength of whatever. And then Tim took that the absolute wrong way and has been freaking out about it for the past 4 days. So I decided to let Tim, that although the context of the article that he got triggered about was not what the article was about to begin with, I decided to let Tim power rank his top 10 chain restaurants. So Tim, have you comprised a list?
I have comprised a list, and I actually got to 15. So because it's such an important topic, I'm going to 15.
You said that like it was an accomplishment.
Well, it was because
when someone asks you to do 10 and you say, I actually got to 15. No. That's you couldn't decide on what your 9th and 10th were between 7 choices. So you decided because you're bad at making lists that you would put it to 15.
First, that is an absolute slander. Secondly, I spent a half hour this afternoon cutting it down to 15.
Again, not an endorsement.
I'm going to give the list anyway, and this is what the people demand content. I give it.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go 1 by 1, 10 through 1, but you give us the 5 right off the hop. What's 15 through 11?
Okay, Five Guys is 15. Red Lobster 14. Taco Bell, 13. Dunkin' Donuts, 12. And because we have some Canadian viewers and American viewers, Panda Express / Manchu Walk make it at 11.
Is Dunkin' Donuts, does that cross over into Halifax? Is that big?
No, but I have been to New England many times, and every time I go there, it is the go-to coffee place for me. Their donuts are excellent. Their coffee is quite good. They make this croissant chicken salad sandwich, which is absolutely amazing. So they get top ratings from me.
Yeah, I don't think I put a coffee shop on the list to begin with.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Well,
And the fact that Red Lobster made this list is just disgusting.
Have you ever had their Cheddar Bay biscuits? Those
those are
alone
really good.
recommend themselves in a top 15 list. Plus, you don't have a taste for seafood. Those of us.
What do you mean I don't have a taste for seafood? I'm actually aware that lobsters are the rats of the sea, and they're just bottom dwellers and fucking disgusting. As somewhere where, I'm from somewhere where there's a lot of access
I was going to say.
to lobster and the ocean.
Live in a
am I.
place where there's access to fresh seafood.
And he wants to go to Red Lobster.
Yes.
Why?
I mean-
exactly? It would make it
Because
seem
they
like you
perfected
know nothing about
They
seafood.
perfected the food model of getting the seafood to the people. That's why they
Yeah,
get to
I mean-
branch out and have a chain restaurant, Pat. That's how economics works.
Ah, yes.
I mean,
I
Garion has
missed that part.
made my point for me.
So, okay, so, I mean, you take, the way that I look at Red Lobster, it's, how can I say this without being too mean? Lobster is supposed to be, like, fancy, right?
Yes.
And expensive. So it's basically
Well,
you're giving,
it is expensive.
you're giving low rent lobster to poor people. That's what Red Lobster does.
It's the Robin Hood of restaurants.
It's
Not
the
Red
okay.
Robin, surprisingly.
Because God forbid we don't allow people who aren't in the 3% upper echelon who dwell in their various palaces near Castle Loma to have lobster. You're right. A common person shouldn't be allowed to ever taste or try that stuff in any way.
No,
Nonsense.
You make a good point. Like, look, I have this debate with my girlfriend all the time where, like, the keg. Like, what is the keg?
The keg is a middle ground between, like, buying steak at a diner and, like, really nice steak places.
And that's the thing. That is exactly what it is.
It's the middle ground.
But to me, like,
It's fine.
I grew up like lower middle class. A meal at the keg was like a really big deal. And Red Lobster is not quite on that level.
It's not even
but
close to that level. It's
Yes,
well below
it
that
is well
level.
below that level.
It's the Kentucky Fried Chicken of lobster.
I would say it's more on like your like Montana's Cracker Barrel kind of level. Like that's basically where it is. But yeah, it's not even the keg. Like it's still
it's
such
not.
a rung below that line. And I like look, yeah, their biscuits are fantastic. That's great.
Sure, it's like it's a lot like Outback Steakhouse,
Yeah, that would be its
so
equivalent.
good.
Yeah.
which is like it's a notch below.
I like that tier of restaurants. I do. I've got nothing against Red Lobster necessarily.
Sure, but the fact that you could say that they're the best because and Tim's argument that hey, it's not for elite people. Well, Tim, here's the thing: when you start paying a bunch of money for stuff and you're in the upper 3%, I'm not a part of the upper 3%. I'm not some rich person walking around, but I do understand that the more that you pay for things, generally speaking, the better quality you're gonna get, and it's better.
I would even say when I was in Halifax for your wedding, like I paid, I don't know, like $20 for a lobster roll. I probably would have to pay like 15, 16 for that at Red Lobster anyway. So when you're really splitting hairs,
Yeah, and you got it fresh right out of the ocean.
yeah, like I'd
of
rather
proximity.
pay the $4. And I understand that, yeah, in Toronto that's
Well,
not a
out
thing.
here you can get a McLobster, which is the same at McDonald's, and it's every bit as good, and it's cheaper than that. I like McLobster.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me.
Again, you're basically saying that because rich people can afford Bentleys, Honda Civics are better.
That's not what I'm saying.
That is
saying
the argument that you're making.
But I'm also saying.
Hey, I
that
like
just-
this low quality thing because
But
everyone can have it.
to be fair,
that makes it better.
This is chain
This isn't
restaurants.
This isn't fucking 1956 Soviet Union, Tim.
But something-
we all don't just get beet rations and be happy with it.
Something has to be 12 on the list, and if we are just ranking fast food restaurants, like
Chain restaurants.
chain restaurants, excuse me. If we are just ranking chain restaurants, like, you know, what are you left with? Maybe Red Lobster is one of the 15 best
Well,
chain
you mentioned the
restaurants.
keg. Listen, I like the keg. Keg's fine. It's not my number one go-to place
Better
for
than
steak.
Red Lobster.
Way better than
Yes,
Red
that's true.
Lobster.
But I'm just saying there's not a ton of what is the upper echelon? Before we get to his number one, like what would your number one chain restaurant actually be? Because are we going with like something that you find is comfort food, or something that like you find
something
is
something that I
a higher
like
class
the
of
best.
food? That
No,
you think?
it's just what I would like the best.
Okay.
Here's my
I
rubric.
mean, I really do like Chick-fil-A.
It's really good.
And I like McDonald's too.
Yeah,
but McDonald's
I
is
McDonald's
more,
today.
like McDonald's is like a convenience thing. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere. And
But
it's
like-
open at all hours of the day. which is
Yeah,
great,
but like
too.
Burger King is also in a lot of places. It just sucks.
It didn't used to. It does now.
But if you want a lot of something for cheap, and there are days when I will take a lot of something for
Well,
under $10.
you know what? I'm going to change that. I prefer Wendy's to McDonald's.
Wendy's is better than McDonald's. Yeah.
But I eat McDonald's more than I eat Wendy's.
There are no Wendy's in the downtown Toronto core.
That's true.
There are two. Actually.
Wendy's is such a great and popular fast food chain that it doesn't have a single location in the country's biggest city.
It
Now
does.
you listen.
It's got
to,
two.
Listen to the
It-
sentence
it has
you
two.
just-
And again, it's
like-
not about popularity.
It's of course the idea that popularity doesn't bear on it is nonsense. Things that aren't
It's
popular.
your list.
It is my list, and my list is set up based on this criteria. Were I on death row, and we're given my final meal and told you have to pick from a chain restaurant, which I would anyway. But if you have to pick from a chain restaurant, where would you pick from?
How
And
does
then-
popularity factor into that statement at all?
Well, the fact it's popular means it's something I'm going to like because people like it. By definition, it is likable.
Yeah, but your death row meal, would it not be something you've already had? Therefore, the opinion of everyone, would that outweigh the opinion of yourself?
No, not necessarily. I'm not saying
You know what? Why don't you take your 5,000 Twitter followers and go fuck off? You sound like a laugh riot.
Oh no,
That's
is he
a
at 5,000 now?
really-
Yeah, he passed you.
Crap.
So he's going to use that joke on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, what's number 10?
Number 10. Okay. Sparrow. Now,
Okay,
I don't know if I need-
Let me ask you this.
So wait, you just hated on Wendy's for their lack of locations. I can think of 2 Sparrows, I think.
All right, where's Pizza Hut fall on your list?
it doesn't.
Where's Domino's on your list?
It is at number 8.
I'm not the biggest Pizza Hut fan or even Domino's fan, but those places are clearly superior to Sparrow's.
Yes.
The thing about Pizza Hut is if it done right, it's amazing. But there are so many balls to strikes that it takes itself
That's
out
true.
of it. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
it's just real
I find
greasy.
Domino's-
It tastes the same. Little Caesars is better than Sparrow's. At least they have a
Well,
$5
Little
hot and
Caesars-
ready.
That's true.
Yeah, I was saying, Little Caesars, it's great bang for your buck. No one will debate that. Sparrow has this stuffed pizza that is so amazing. And I've said this before, I don't need to rehearse it. You could walk the streets of Florence and not find a better slice of pizza than you can find at Sparrow.
You've said
You
a
might
lot
find
of
them-
things before.
Yeah, you do say a
continue
lot
to
of
say.
things that people just openly disagree with because they're wrong, but sure.
Well, they're allowed to we live in a free society. I'm not here to express their opinion.
I
I'm here to
will.
express
I
my
will then
opinion.
repeat the thing that I said the last time the thing you said that you just said, which is you've never been to Italy. How do you know that?
Why do I need to go to Italy?
Why do I need to leave my house? I have the internet,
To
Gary.
make a declarative statement that you can find definitely a better piece of pizza at Sparrow than you can in the streets of Italy, I would say to make that statement, yes, you would have had to be to Italy. And I say this acknowledging the fact that Italy's kind of weird with pizza. Like there's certain sections they're divided in sections and there's rules about the types of pizza you can actually make and not make in each section. So some of the sections of Italy, I don't like their pizza. That's fine. But
That's the European Union at work.
it really is actually. But
There are 4 pillars.
how do you make that statement? You've never
If your
been to
banana,
Italy.
like stuff like if the banana doesn't have a big enough curve in it, you can't sell it. Like that's the level of the EU's regulation.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So if you're telling me I have to go to this socialist,
No,
EU
I'm
controlled
not
country
telling you
with
have
great
to
pizza,
do that.
I'll get it at a place where freedom reigns, like here.
I'm saying to say it's better, you
can
maybe
taste
have
the-
to try the other thing.
I mean, I'm sure it can be good, but I can't imagine it being better than Sparrow.
You can't
That's all I'm
you can't imagine
That's
it
a
being better.
sad
Then
reality.
Sparrow should be number 1 on your list. If you can't imagine it
because-
could be better.
Because Domino's does other stuff different that I like, and we'll get into that when we get to Domino's.
So we call it
Not even their
tease.
pizza that I like best there.
Coming up after the break, I'll tell you why Domino's is better than Sparrow's.
They're
This
flocking
is
back.
the saddest radio show of all time. What's number
You knew
9?
what you were getting into. You knew what you were getting into. IHOP is number 9. It's the classic diner. There's only one.
I would
IHOP.
say that a classic diner would just be a diner, wouldn't it?
Well,
No, because they clearly failed in the 50s and couldn't franchise.
But like when you're going to a diner, the hole-in-the-wall type place is specifically what you go out of
We are
your way to
talking about
find. Yeah, but why would you need to go to a fucking shit restaurant like IHOP when there are plenty of diners around that everyone prefers?
So I take umbrage with that qualification or that characterization of IHOP. Their pancakes, particularly at like Halloween or Christmas time, they put out these special flavored pancakes, which are amazing. And they have this on-table strawberry syrup and maple flavored syrup, which is excellent. And it's as good as syrup as you're going to get anywhere else. And they have these breakfast platters with the fried eggs and the hash browns for a very affordable price and an unending. When you order coffee at IHOP, they don't just fill you up a coffee cup. There is one of those old-fashioned like urns that like the waitresses walk around with that they fill your coffee up with. They just put that on the table for you next to your cup, so it's essentially
so it's in your way. Great, that sounds awesome.
So it's a never-ending cup of coffee to go with delicious pancakes. Waffles.
Now I'm sorry, as a triggered millennial, Tim, that you can't wait the 3 seconds it would take the waitress to come over and refill your coffee. I'm sorry that's so big of a problem for you.
It's just convenient and sort of neat that they pour the first cup for you and then they leave the urn.
So what you're saying is that they're lazy.
My problem would be that maple syrup is fine on its own. Then you got these millennials like Tim who need their specialty syrups.
It has to be. I need every choice on the table or I can't eat there.
If I don't have 5 types of syrup to choose from, how could I eat my pancakes? And these people make me sick. Just eat maple syrup like God intended to put on your pancakes.
I enjoy the impersonation. I think it's pretty good. However,
you're a laugh riot.
The IHOP strawberry syrup is a cut above the next best syrup in the world, which is the McDonald's pancake syrup. Like, that's high praise to say that McDonald's pancake syrup is actually surpassed by the strawberry syrup at IHOP, which is other.
When you were going over your metric for ranking all these things, what was how quickly will this give me heart disease on your thing?
I mean, I'm not really ranking it based on its.
Again, on his rubric, it was a last meal before you're executed. So
that
actually doesn't have that big a factor.
That's fair.
That's actually precise. Thank you for making my point.
Okay, number 8.
Domino's, yeah.
All right. So what differentiates Domino's from Sparrow's?
The pasta at Domino's that they.
What are you going to eat pasta at Domino's? What the fuck's wrong with you?
It's oven baked with the pizza cheese on top, and they fill it with lots of toppings and sausage.
Who goes to a pizza place and doesn't get fucking pizza? Go somewhere else.
Lots of people do, and that's why.
Do they? Lots of people do they?
Well, there obviously must be some desire for it, or these things would fall off the menu. Pizza Domino's the last couple of years is really good. I commend it. I think it's really tasty stuff. Their Brooklyn pepperoni in particular is one of the best toppings a person can get on a pizza. I truly believe that. But it's their homemade pastas that they cook in the pizza ovens themselves, like the rotating rolling oven that they fill with lots of cheese and toppings and delicious sauce and very affordable.
Homemade pasta.
It's really good. Now, it's not the best Italian place that you'll get pasta. We'll come on to that in a minute.
What?
But it makes really good pasta and good pizza. And because it does both things well, that's why it's at 8.
What's number 7?
No.
Number 7 is Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen?
I can get behind this. I like this one.
I like Blizzard's fine.
They've got surprisingly good food.
Their fries are disgusting.
The fries are not great.
The fries are bad.
Fries are bad.
Straight up bad.
The thing that Dairy Queen does better than anywhere else is the ice cream cake. That alone. If you were at a party and someone brings her...
Yeah, you know what? If I was at a party and someone brought me a DQ ice cream cake, I'd be like, man, I'm 7 again. Sick.
If you were at a party and a Dairy Queen ice cream cake comes out, nobody complains and people get hyped.
What sort of party are you going to? What sort of an alcoholic party are you going to where they're bringing fucking DQ ice cream cakes?
It happens, and those are.
Give me an example.
I was at a birthday party 3 weeks ago when one was brought.
And how old was this person turning?
31.
Oh my god.
And people were hyped. and then I began to definitively rank the parts of the cake. But that's a separate matter.
Well, the Oreo crumble is number one, right?
No, he said he said it was last.
No,
What?
it's second. It's second.
Okay.
What's first then?
The icing on the top, very underrated. Very good stuff.
Just because something's underrated doesn't make it the best.
You're getting booed from behind the camera on this one. Also, like, come on.
What is this is how often in a year do you have a DQ ice cream cake?
Not often, but there's so
every day.
How is it that high on the list then?
And that's what makes Dairy Queen so much better is it's fucking DQ ice cream cake.
It's not just the ice cream cake. The peanut butter parfaits, I love them. Banana splits, the classic. Blizzards, I can't have them anymore, but they were amazing. Plus their food, on their food side, you know what? Their chicken tenders are pretty decent. They have this new HP burger there. Really, really good hamburger, I have to say. So
everything at Dairy Queen is geared towards children. If you go to one of the other chains, like you went to I don't know, Applebee's or something like that. The stuff that you buy at Dairy Queen comes on the kids menus at those places.
Yeah.
That's your opinion.
It's not an opinion. That's what it is.
When was the last time you stepped foot into a Dairy Queen and purchased a meal?
Like a meal or like a Blizzard?
Well, to be fair, anything.
Oh, like whenever I took the GO train last, so 3 months ago.
They don't have one in.
Oh no, I did.
It's been like 2 years.
They got rid of it. So 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, is it a regular store? Like you walk in, there were tables and chairs and a full menu of stuff.
No, there was one that was the best possible place for a Dairy Queen ever. They stuck it right under the place you go to see to check your train times at Union Station. So if you miss your train and you got an hour to wait, you're gonna buy a Blizzard.
I mean, that is clever. I'll give them that. I just think Dairy Queen. I wanted some sort of dessert place on the ranking list, and I love Dairy Queen, and I think that they have some pretty decent food. It's not the best in terms of their hot food, but it's decent enough. But their desserts knock it out of the park consistently. And I mean, just the little stuff, like just go get a marshmallow sundae. That alone is delicious. Or, just there's so much good stuff there.
But
so
what's the competition? Like, is the only reason Dairy Queen is on this list that you wanted a dessert place in your top 15, and they're literally the only dessert restaurant?
Oh, well, no. People love the country's best yogurt and have that highly ranked.
They don't serve any other food. Like, I don't think they can qualify for this list.
Well, I mean, that stupid MSN article did include them on the list of chain restaurants.
I flicked through the whole thing, but I got to be honest. From
I looked at it for about 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was hard to get through.
It was more entertaining just to hear how triggered he was.
It's a lot of clicking.
You know what? I'm actually getting angrier the more I think about it. It's one of these things that actually hasn't gotten less angry over time. It's got me more worked up. See, people don't know what they're talking about.
I mean, that's you. You're the one. When people listen...
Everywhere I go, people are talking about this. Yes, because you bring it up.
When people listen back to this, they're going to say, hey, there's Pat. He doesn't always have the best takes, and he's not right about everything. And then there's Gary, and he's kind of the same way. When they hear you talk, it's like, the fuck is wrong with this guy? Did he have an aneurysm?
Now, there are some people on the twitter.com who are in my corner and support me with the things that I say.
Yeah, that account that you created that agrees with you. And then you respond to pretend like it's not you. That doesn't count.
I wouldn't do that.
He might not be physically capable of doing it.
He definitely is. Give me a break.
He didn't know how to search his old tweets.
He still doesn't, which is still very funny. But setting up another account, if you set up an account the first time, you could set it up the second time.
Hypothetically.
So can you rank your Blizzards for us?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so the
Cookie
first
dough,
one...
number one, that's it.
No, that would be dead last.
How is that dead last?
Dead last.
Because
Wow.
cookie dough shouldn't be eaten. Cookies dough is meant to be cooked. That's
People love cookie. That's not a very good statement of fact for the people. People love cookie dough.
I think it's gross.
I will even buy like the tubes. And maybe I will, may or may not make cookies, but I'll eat some of that dough.
The Reese's peanut butter one is my favorite. The Oreo cheesequake was also excellent. And the strawberry.
Oreo.
The strawberry cheesequake. The
Why are you saying
Oreo-
cheesequake?
It was called
That's what it's
cheese.
called.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
I thought he just had a list.
I was really gonna give him kudos for remembering the exact names.
Where's the Skull Blizzard? Where does that come in?
When you've ordered as many as I have over the years, you remember the exact name.
Why aren't you allowed to have Blizzards anymore?
Because I had an addiction and had one every day for like 8 years, and then I swore them off and haven't had one in now almost 10 years.
So you afraid that if you have one, it'll just completely devolve upon itself?
Yeah, for some people, it's cocaine. For other people, it's Blizzard.
Listen, it's amazing.
If I have one, I'm going to start saying, well, you had one, you could have two. The next thing you know, no, I can't.
Okay.
So where's the Skull Blizzard come in?
That's something you invented.
No, I swear there's a Skull Blizzard.
No,
is there not?
it's Score.
Oh,
I always just called it the Skull Blizzard. Which would be real gross.
that's true.
Just my dip cup with some ice cream in it. But it's still better than cookie dough, according to Tim.
Which is dead
Well,
last.
Cookie dough shouldn't be eaten. It's raw. I'm not in the business of eating food in a half-cooked state.
But it's raw. It's not even half cooked. It's just raw. And
Gross.
also, steak tastes better the less that you cook it.
To a degree, that's true. I mean, blue rare steak.
Let's hear your
Blue rare-
let's hear your definitive rankings of steak
don't
cuts.
do this. This is not going to work out well.
Medium rare, medium well,
Medium well, gross.
rare well, blue rare. Blue rare is the worst.
Where's well done on that list?
Just before blue rare. They're both terrible. I wouldn't eat them.
I'd rather eat.
That's a pretty good
I mean,
list.
I can't. My grandfather eats blue steaks. I can't eat them quite blue, but I would eat a blue steak before I ate a well done steak.
Yeah,
Hey,
I totally agree with that.
here's your piece
Yeah.
of cardboard.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
I would agree with that. But that again, that is near the top of the least egregious lists, I think.
I agree.
And he's had that list before.
That
I
one's
remember
close.
seeing.
See,
that
I
on
would
Twitter.
go medium rare, rare, medium.
That's fine. I prefer medium. Is
And
my
if I
favorite.
didn't get it one of those ways, I would send it back.
But oftentimes, if I'm going out to,
170, yeah.
oftentimes if I go out to a steakhouse, I will order particularly medium because I feel like medium rare is mostly just rare. Like they tend to undercook it slightly a little bit. Like they err on the side of undercooking slightly. So if I order a medium, I'm likely going to get a medium rare, and that's fine.
Yeah, but most people would lean towards it being rare over being medium. That would be the
And I
thing.
get
That's
that, which
that's
is
why
why
you would
I'm kinda-
undercook it.
He's basically
I
just playing
get
a
that.
slice, and I can see that. That's logical.
Okay, what's the next chain restaurant?
So this is where I fought for a while. I was like, where do I start ranking these ones? Because these, I mean,
Well, I mean, are the other ones not in order with the
Wait,
number that you
what?
put next to them?
there would be a gap between DQ and the rest of these. If I were doing my ranks like online. So next I will put KFC. And this is, I mean, KFC is the ultimate chicken place.
Now,
they
Gary
did-
and you prefer Popeyes.
I do. Yes. I don't
And
dislike
Popeyes is-
KFC, but I prefer Popeyes.
Popeyes is fine. People love their sides a lot. That's great. But it ultimately is a chicken place. So the star of the meal has to be the decider. And Popeyes chicken versus KFC just doesn't stack up to KFC. They have the 11 herbs and spices. They did it first. They did it best.
Wait,
they're
just,
the classic-
so they did it first, so that makes them best?
I find myself
Not necessarily, but they do
a,
it best.
a lot of people like Popeyes chicken
Yeah,
over KFC.
I feel
I
like-
can associate KFC for me with family dinners, and there's a historical sort of like
Yeah, but that's
generation.
Well, you can't
walk.
associate it with family dinners because the more and more you eat KFC, the smaller and smaller. I mean, the bigger and bigger your family gets, then the smaller and smaller because they're dead.
No, I mean I know you're trying to be flip, but there's a lot of people for whom KFC is the type of meal that has in the past connected very just generations of families at a Sunday dinner or something. That Popeyes just doesn't have that and is never gonna have that.
So why does that factor into the rankings?
Well, because they're my rankings, and I think that sort of cultural nostalgia plays some role.
Why don't you
he
live in
wants
the
to see his life flash before his eyes. before he
as
goes to
a
the
triggered
chair.
millennial? Why don't you live in the fucking now?
I am not a triggered millennial. I'm not triggered at all. I am dispassionate.
You are the most triggered person I've ever met.
You have met many more people.
You're
who are
also the
triggered.
biggest snowflake I've ever met.
I'm not a snowflake. Stop saying that.
I feel like the more and more, well, I don't go to KFC that often because if I'm gonna have fried chicken, I go to Popeyes. But I feel
Or
like
that place that we were talking about that had excellent fried chicken.
excellent fried chicken.
Yeah, well, that's
Have you ever had it, Tim?
there. No, but
Then
I've had
shut the
KFC.
fuck up.
KFC is objectively going to be
No,
better.
it has to be better because I've never had anything else.
But I thought I
has to be.
don't actually.
You have the
get-
palate. Like we were talking about cardboard earlier.
Mhm.
It seems like when you eat things, everything tastes like cardboard to you.
If
so it
you
doesn't
think
matter.
KFC tastes like cardboard, you're the one with defective
I
taste.
don't, but you're gonna throw everything else out. Like I've never had it, but it has to be bad.
Not
That
bad.
doesn't even make sense.
I never said bad.
Just
I just
not
said
better.
But it couldn't be better. I've tried one thing ever. Nothing could be better than this. So I'm never gonna find out.
Well, that's of course a hyperbole of my statement. But why don't you go ahead, Gary, and make your point instead of me just being yelled at by an angry man.
I was just going to say that I find myself, and this could just be a testament to how good the Big Crunch is and how it is the best, like, pound for pound chicken sandwich, I would say, in the game, because it's like actually big. You actually kind of get what you see on the menu. I don't get a lot of like 2 pieces or 3 pieces at KFC. I sometimes find it a little too greasy. It just, I don't know.
I mean, it is fried chicken, but that goes with the territory. Their gravy is so amazing too that
They're good gravy.
Like if I was going to eat at a chicken place, I just eat a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I mean that's not an option for
Tim?
those of us in the north.
Sure. Oh no, that's not necessarily true. I have a tweet here, and Tim might actually enjoy this because it will just go right along with. I mean, it might oppose his ideological views, but
I saw this tweet. This is a terrible tweet.
So the New Yorker,
the New Yorker, which used to be unintentionally ironic.
Now it's just ironic.
Now it's just they don't know what they're doing.
Well, my tweets aren't loading. Great. Chick-fil-A is in New York now.
Are you saying you had to look up Tim's old tweets and your Twitter got Andercust?
It did, yeah. Now I have to put like my Wi-Fi on. Let's see if that's it. I haven't been paying my phone bill recently.
I mean, essentially, the tweet says that Chick-fil-A has come to New York City, and that's sort of creepy because it's sort of imposing Christian values on New York.
Yeah.
Because of course, New York's a melting pot city that can accept diverse views and opinions, except for Christian ones. Those have no place in New York, apparently, according to this author, who doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, the tweet that I saw was that one. Chick-fil-A's arrival in New York feels like an infiltration, in no small part because of its pervasive Christian traditionalism. The quote was just, it's a fucking chicken sandwich.
Well, that's it. It's just a chicken sandwich in a city that, has deep and large Christian roots. Like, it's not weird to be Christian in New York. It is city.
Incredibly annoying, though, when I am in the States and near the Mason-Dixon line and it's a Sunday and I can't get a goddamn chicken sandwich because of your belief system. Give me a chicken sandwich.
Well, but you know what? I don't have a problem.
You know what? I like everything now. But not that. That's okay.
I'm in a tough spot here because I don't like Chick-fil-A's food.
How do you not like Chick-fil-A's food? That's just an objectively wrong
weird.
thing.
Yeah.
But I will stand up for their right to not be open on Sundays, and I will fight back against that.
So where's Chick-fil-A on your list? Because you haven't even said it yet.
It's not going to be on his list.
Chick-fil-A is in that.
How is it not on your list?
Well, I have a list of most overrated places, and it's on there.
Why?
Yeah.
Because it's incredibly overrated. It seems like a truism.
In whose opinion?
In my opinion.
Have you ever had it?
Yes, I had it in Minneapolis.
And it was excellent.
Yeah, it was perfectly mediocre. It was like, great. I would rather have KFC. This is okay.
No, I don't think people are saying that. I think that's you. That's you because it comes after KFC. Don't quote me back.
As the tribune of the people.
You're not the tribune of the people. Tim Butts is the tribune of the people. People even say that. You're just some fucking wacko on Twitter that people don't seem to like very much.
Part of my responsibility is to lay out a list that the people will embrace and understand. Right. That isn't just, if you don't have the French Laundry on your list, you don't know good restaurants. Nonsense.
You have to cut through the crap, basically.
Well, he's never been to, like, real restaurants, so that's tough.
Of course I have.
Let's do another just kind of offshoot list here, because I feel like this could be part of the reason for the hatred for Chick-fil-A. If you had to power rank the following 3 French fries, how would you power rank them? Curly fries, regular fries, lattice fries.
Waffle fries.
Okay, fine. Waffle fries.
Waffle fries.
I
would power rank them straight waffle than curly, but I do like a mix of waffles.
Yeah, I like going to a place that has.
I like that Chick-fil-A has waffle fries.
Yeah, it's great. I enjoy it.
It's much better than Arby's having curly fries.
Yes,
put it that way.
But I think part of that. Go ahead. Straight.
Curly, massive gap. Waffle. See, waffle fries are awful.
I figured this was a lot of the hatred was a hatred of waffle fries.
You don't get enough of them. B, the condiments fall right through the holes, and it's very inefficient. It's too much potato.
Why are you putting and not dipping? Dip your fries.
No. And so it's actually more hygienic not to dip your fries.
You strike me as someone who's really concerned about hygiene, Tim.
I am.
When was the last time you showered? Like 3 weeks ago?
Anytime that I can get that 30-minute break between golf and Golf Channel. Listen, that's part of the reason I like chain so much. This is one of the points the president makes, and he's right, that chain restaurants are objectively cleaner and more consistent than other restaurants because of the high level of quality you have to reach to not get sued. Cleanliness is at a.
I mean,
clean-
It's not like
Tim siding up with the guy that puts ketchup on his steak for food takes makes a lot of sense to me.
yeah.
Nobody's right about the cleanliness factor. It has to be cleaner than anywhere else because they can't afford to make a mistake and be sued for millions of dollars. Like that is true.
I guess, but I think you're lumping it into like hole in the wall type places, as opposed to like really fine dining, like good independent establishments.
Yes, he's thinking about it more like let's say the taco place that you have to walk down the stairs in that back alley around the corner.
A pizza kitchen,
not the fancy steak place that's around the corner.
Yeah, like these places also have to.
Or no one will go.
Yeah, because yes, maybe their company, their Fortune 500 company, won't lose millions of dollars on the stock market that day, but the
they'll
person
just
who
go out of
owns it will
business.
lose their business completely.
I agree with all of that, but I know for a fact that the big chains are going to be clean, and I'm just going to err on the side of caution most of the time. That's all. Nothing wrong with that.
No, it sounds like there's stuff wrong with that. And if you're not getting some germs into your system, you're not doing it right.
It's true.
That just means
Your
you're going to be
system's
sick
gonna
all
weak.
the time.
There
Yeah.
you go. Gotta eat some dirt.
Gotta get some dirt all over
McDirt.
it. Yeah, see, Tim would be all over them. If you put Mick in front of it, he'd be all
McDirt.
in on the McDirt.
Again, making fun of McDonald's when you just said earlier you love McDonald's.
I like McDonald's. It's fine.
I
I wouldn't go out of my way and say, you know what's really fine dining? McDonald's.
yeah, I feel like
But
no
that's
one
what
ever
started this whole fight was because that stupid MSN article had McDonald's last.
But it
wasn't
wasn't a
that.
ranking of what was the best and
was
what was the worst.
statistical.
And nobody believes those stats.
Apparently,
The
you
20
don't believe those
The
stats.
72% of people who said what they said clearly believe those stats.
I don't believe those numbers. I think that is perpetrated to be a hot take, hot enough to cauterize
And get you triggered, and you're still talking about it a week later.
in order
You're
to
the
drive
only
people.
person that freaked out about this. And also, I like Tim.
No, I
Tim
wasn't.
also shares a diet with the president. He also finds things that don't agree with him. They're clearly fake news.
I'm saying,
That's what you're saying.
okay, look, I'm sure we'll get into this.
Morency saw it. Morency lost
Yes,
it too.
listen,
Very
I love
similar dietary
Morency.
taste.
Trying to compare your diet with Morency means not good things for your future health.
Gabe was also the kind of person, and look, I am sometimes this kind of person.
He hadn't
who
had a
got
glass of water in 7 years.
I'm not that kind of person, but he's the kind of person who got really excited when McDonald's was available on Uber Eats. That's a specific category of person. And look, I eat a lot of McDonald's.
I eat most of my McDonald's off of Uber Eats now, and I eat it generally between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning.
And that's the point of this. It's like I eat a lot of McDonald's because
it's available.
It's available, and it's literally the closest restaurant I have to my apartment building. No one ever leaves their house with the intent of eating McDonald's. It's always the
Hey, McDonald's!
It's open and it's
I do.
here.
Why? Why don't you just make yourself a fucking meal?
Because McDonald's is actually quite cheap, and I like
Oh,
McDonald's.
sure, but I feel like the quality of
We will
McDonald's
get to them.
compared
They are much higher on my list. We will get to them.
What number are we at now? Does it
This
matter?
will be 5 coming up, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, we're at number 5.
What's number 5?
Olive Garden.
Okay, you know what? I don't even want to hear about Olive Garden. What's number 4?
Well, we've already talked about it. So those of us the people who are aware of the extended universe of our takes have already heard us sort of rehash.
That's all we do. Really, this is about rehashing. So I would just go with it.
Okay, number 4 is Tim Hortons,
Okay, next.
and it's that because
Yeah,
I think that's the place
I don't even care about Tim Hortons. Tim
that
Hortons is
happens to be
garbage.
the place I go. You invite me on the show.
No, you made me upset by
and
this
then
point.
you
Just
tell me
just-
I have no right to the opinions.
Well, it's
that
my,
I have.
I mean, you said it. I invited you on my show. It's my fucking show, so let's move on.
To have me on to give my opinions, and you say I don't have a right to have the opinions that I have.
This
Like,
this
okay.
does remind me, just so I can get a timeline in my head, because I feel like we're closing in on a year here. When are you allowed to eat Wendy's again?
May 1st.
May 1st. Okay.
Now, in Canada, where Tim Hortons is for the majority of their locations, owned by Wendy's.
Yes. Sometimes there's a joint restaurant.
Mm-hmm. But Tim,
I don't think they're
Tim
not
Hortons.
owned by Wendy's anymore, but there are still several joint restaurants.
It's the company. They're now the parent
Burger
company.
King, I
Is,
now believe owns them.
yes, along with
But
Popeyes,
there are
I
still
believe.
there are still several Wendy's Tim joint buildings that still exist.
Tim Hortons, mediocre coffee, plus just horrible for you food.
A lot of nostalgia in Canadiana, though.
Sure.
Shove that. down
But
your throat.
also, like McDonald's, very popular because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't leave your house trying to go to Tim Hortons. It's, hey, can you
I
pick
need
me
a
up some
coffee.
coffee
Yeah.
on the way somewhere? And there's 28 Tim Hortons, so you go there.
I think you may have mistaken the effect for the cause. Maybe everywhere because it's popular, not popular because it's everywhere. But anyway,
No, it played itself into. It's now popular because it's everywhere.
Well,
On this list of the MSN list, I don't even know if it was on there because it's surprised.
It was. It
All
was
right.
actually
Yeah,
like
because
middle
there's
of
enough
the
of them in the States now.
Is there enough of them in the States?
Yeah.
But the whole point being that, I mean, Tim Hortons, the way that Tim Hortons is in Canada is like how Starbucks is in the States.
Yeah,
You get
just everywhere.
Starbucks because, hey, there's 2 Starbucks right across from each
But
other.
I would think,
I need a coffee, let's
again,
get a Starbucks.
even more than that, I would say, because it's hard to do this in the States, I understand that. But it's Dunkin'-esque and what Dunkin'
Yes.
means to Boston. Tim Hortons thrives in Canada because congratulations to their marketing department, but they're now so entrenched in this goddamn hockey self-sustaining identity that we have as Canadians that people get mad if you don't drink Tim Hortons. That's what you're getting when you're driving your kid to the rink at 5 in the morning.
Here's the hot take. McDonald's coffee,
Better than Tim's.
exponentially better than Tim's coffee. Do you know why? Because they took the old Tim's recipe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to fight you. I mean, while I think Tim's is better, I like McDonald's a lot, their coffee, and I'm not going to say anything bad about them. I think it's really good.
All right, next.
Speaking of which, the next one is McDonald's.
Okay. People are pretty across the board in on McDonald's, but like we said, McDonald's has achieved the highest convenience factor of any of these restaurants.
It is drunk food at its highest form.
Mhm.
And that's an
they have
endearing compliment.
And they have the best fries.
Yes.
That always goes a long
They
way.
do. They definitely do. That's why their poutine is so great.
Yeah. Why would you go to McDonald's?
Again,
and get
those,
a
like
poutine?
for as good as those fries are, they don't seem like good poutine fries.
That's I
And
thought they were.
Paul, they're
The
not.
structural integrity of a poutine fry has to be thicker.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you grew up in the Gaspé and you know all the ins and the outs of.
So I'm not allowed to have my opinions. I have to
I'm
adhere to
just
your
turning
opinions.
your view around on me. That unless you've been to the place where it originated, how could you know about the ins?
So are you saying that McDonald's started poutine?
No, I'm not. I wouldn't say that because they.
I'm
did.
just saying I've had various types of poutine with various types of thicknesses of fries.
Like when
and
you
thicker
go to the
better.
poutineries around here,
Yeah. They're just thicker fries, generally speaking.
so they absorb the cheese.
They
and
absorb the
grease.
gravy and the curd better.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's better. Also, if I'm a McDonald's fry, to be fair, it's already good enough as it is. I don't need gravy and curd on top
Yeah,
of it.
also-
it's
Yeah,
a
I mean,
different thing.
Also, sneaky
I'm with
thing
you.
about
I eat
McDonald's,
my fries
bad
dry,
burgers.
too.
Yeah, very bad.
Bad
burgers.
burgers.
Wendy's,
See,
great burgers.
Wendy's, great burgers.
Yeah.
I think you've got that reversed.
No,
I think
no,
McDonald's
no,
burgers are great.
I think that's cross board. People like
The
Wendy's.
Big Mac is
better.
delicious. Just
The
is.
sauce is delicious.
The whole thing is delicious. The quarter pounder's great.
Eh.
All
The
right,
McDouble, great.
what's number 2?
Number 2 is Chili's.
Wait, what's number 1 then?
I think you
Subway.
can probably.
Oh, right, Subway. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and number 1 is Subway.
Mr. Sub's better than Subway, by the way. It's a lot better.
So that
I think you're the
that
only
wasn't
person
on, the
on
list.
earth
That's
who've
two-
ever
that's
reigned.
two.
Yeah,
those
that's a chain around here that's
Yeah.
just way better. And people, it's whenever Tim has this take about Subway, the most common response to it is that whatever like the local chain of an area
Yeah,
is,
like if it's
tends to be like if you're in
Jimmy
like
John's or
yeah,
if
or
it's,
like if you're in
Wimpy
Pennsylvania,
or
there's one in
whatever.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
If you're in Jersey, there's one in Jersey,
Jersey
and there's
Mike's,
a ton,
yeah.
and there's a whole bunch of them in that one place. But they're very regional in that setting, and they're
Yes.
all way better. And like I find that Mr. Sub is just way better.
My dad was very passionate about that.
About Mr. Sub.
Mr. Sub being better than Subway.
Now, Subway is better than Quiznos. I hate
Oh,
Quiznos.
yeah, Quiznos was on my list of most overrated. In fact, it was in worst place. I think I hate Quiznos most of all.
Now,
Yeah.
did you like that if you go into Subway, they ask you if you want your sub toasted, like you would be at Quiznos?
Well, I like that I'm given the option, but like the bread at Quiznos is thin, and the toppings are bad, and the size is all wrong. 9 inches is the stupidest length of a sandwich.
See, I like the
inches
9
is
inches.
great.
Yeah.
I wish Subway had the 9 inches.
6 inches is great for lunch. 12 inches is great for supper. So it depends on what meal you're having. It depends on the side sub you want. Quiznos just doesn't
Yeah,
have.
but if you eat 9 inches at lunch and 9 inches at dinner, it still equates out of the same 18. And we all know we're having a sub for lunch and dinner.
On a list of worst places, Quiznos makes it.
I do agree with Quiznos is not good. Quiznos is like if you try, they're trying to be like a better version of Subway, but
And
they're
failing
But
miserably
their
at everything.
try-heartedness is shining so through, and they're failing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not good.
So Chili's number 2. Nah.
Also,
we knew that was coming.
Subway now has the Pepsi drink machines.
Oh,
Oh, I know.
but you hate Pepsi.
I don't like Pepsi, and I don't like the machines. So that is very disappointing.
I
But
just
I'm
like the
only happy-
machines.
He just can't figure out the machines. He would
I
love
can
them.
figure
He
out
would,
too many buttons.
I mean, he loves all the convenience of everything else. He just can't figure out what button to press.
I mean, on a slightly related topic, I mean, I've been proven right about the garbage of those Diet Cokes by now, since they're crashing and burning.
What do you mean
Nobody
they're crashing
likes
and burning? I mean, the one instance that I saw of anyone else talking about this or being concerned about this besides you was Feinberg, and he tweeted out a picture of them all being sold out.
I think they were being nuts. I don't think they were all sold out.
They weren't sold out. They just took them off the floor. Yeah, that's what they were up to, wasn't it, Tim?
Nobody likes them, and I was right.
Definitive evidence? Non-existent.
Doesn't need it.
No, I'm just right.
The man has his
All right.
convictions.
Well, he's fake news. He can say whatever he wants.
You gotta believe me.
As proof by this list, I mean, he has a very good opinion on what people like.
Yeah, see, again, I don't know if I've ever actually said this on one of the pods, but I do like Chili's.
Chili's is fine. Would
it's
you call it the
fine.
best
No.
chain restaurant?
No, but if I had to sit down and figure out, like, the problem with chain restaurants is, like, I really don't know how to, like, differentiate them.
They're all the same.
They're all the same
They're all
place.
exactly the same.
So
The tostadas at Chili's are like nowhere else.
Because they're not that good?
you could walk through the heart of Mexico City.
I believe I've said something very similar.
I think I was quoting you.
When was the last time you had a Mexican taco?
I'm, like at a restaurant.
No, like in Mexico. 20 years?
I had been to Mexico like a decade ago. I don't know.
Did you have tacos there?
I'm sure I did, but I don't.
By sure, do you mean no?
I mean, I probably had Mexican food in Mexico, yes,
You
but
found
I
a
don't
Taco Bell.
remember.
Yeah, you found Taco Bell. The definitive.
Taco Bell's great.
Look, I like Taco Bell just as much. Taco Bell to me is like, it's just a rung below McDonald's. It's if you want a different kind of thing from 1 to 3 in the morning.
Sure,
you go to
but
Taco
like,
Bell.
but the thing that I don't understand is, like, if I make fries at home, I'm never gonna get them to the level of McDonald's fries. That's just not happening.
That's true. You
I can make tacos at home that taste better than Taco Bell tacos.
It is true. That is a very good point. I think too with Taco Bell, just because of just the value of their franchise, like they're not nearly as prevalent as McDonald's. So I think they lose out on some of their market because most of their audience, people wasted out of their minds, would have to drive a car to get to a Taco Bell, and that's kind of
Well, where Tim and I are from,
not a problem.
That's not stopping anyone.
Not a problem. True. So, yeah.
Hard to find a Taco Bell though.
Yeah, there's not a lot around.
Yeah, they're
all
weird
in
that-
There was 2 Taco Bells in Reykjavik, both closed.
Is it really? There was a Sparrow in Reykjavik too.
Yeah, that was in the airport. There was also
Moves-
there was a Domino's. The only thing that Iceland didn't have, there was a Dunkin' Donuts there. There was basically everything. Yeah. Strangely, only because European coffee is way different in the way that they serve it. It's all like 4 euros each.
Yeah.
It's just a real little tiny cup. And it's not even like cappuccinos or espressos. Those are separate.
Like
Like
Demi-tasse?
the coffees that you get are just real
The
tiny
Americanos,
cups.
or?
But there are Dunkin' Donuts. Like when I was in Berlin, there was a Dunkin' Donuts next to the thing. I'd be like, oh yeah, let's just go get a giant coffee for €1. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
let's do this. So I wanted to walk around and bring
coming to my side on these
It was
things.
just very convenient, and I didn't want to pay €5, which is like $9
Yeah, I mean,
for
look,
a little coffee.
No one's
But this is all
against
part of the
convenience
argument
in
I have
fast
in favor
food.
of
Yeah, yeah, but no one. Yeah, Gary's right. No one's against the convenience of any of these things, but the fact that you hype them up as like, no, this is Italian food at Olive Garden, and there's no better
the thing
Italian
is,
food. That is what people have the
You
problem
go
with,
into
because
it
it makes
knowing-
you sound like you're
Yeah,
mental.
There's the trade-off. You're trading convenience for quality, and you know that, and that's
But,
fine.
but the thing is, he doesn't seem to know that
yeah,
I don't really think that I am giving up.
because he hasn't eaten at good restaurants before.
I have eaten.
No, you haven't. You just seem, based on what you have told us, it just seems like you eat at fucking McDonald's every day.
no, he
I
goes.
don't
He goes to
go
at
to
least
McDonald's.
some places with waitresses, so they can ignore him as he listens to his iPod.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
That's a deep cut. Again, in the extended universe of this show, people remember that reference.
They do.
Yeah,
if
Tim-
anyone's gotten this far into this show, they've definitely watched all the other
Tim
shows.
is the sad person who sits by himself listening with his headphones on at restaurants and then gets upset that the waitress ignores him because he's ignoring them.
He's Baby Driver,
Except not good at driving.
and also not us.
Real. Oh, Paul has a question from the crowd.
The ultimate proof that he's never been to good restaurants is that he said when he orders a steak, he orders it at medium because they cook it raw.
That
is a
and
great
now,
point. He doesn't trust.
If
yeah.
people couldn't hear that because Paul was off camera, he had made the excellent point that Tim has clearly never been to a good restaurant before because he has to order a medium steak because they'll overcook it. If you were at a good restaurant, they wouldn't be
overcook it.
overcooking your
Exactly.
steak. Only the nut load
That
is
was some
that.
Sherlock shit right there.
Yeah, that is a
Get Paul a BBC
very
series.
sage point from Paul.
Well,
And he's patting himself on the back.
just find that these places pride themselves on making sure they undercook rather than overcook, and sometimes, I mean, they're humans; they make mistakes, and it's just safer to go with medium. Plus, I'll be happy if they cook it exactly medium. Great, because I kind of prefer it that way anyway.
Oh, but that wasn't first in your rankings.
I was gonna say now you're lying to the people.
Yeah, now you're just a liar.
It was medium was first, then medium rare.
Interesting.
I feel like he's
Which
lying
again,
on this.
but yeah, I like medium rare a lot. So like,
but again, if you go to a place that's nice enough, they don't make these mistakes.
maybe so. Maybe I should.
When
be
you
more
ask Gladys at the IHOP to get you steak for some reason, so you can put cherry syrup on
Yeah.
it, yeah, it might not come out the best.
I probably wouldn't order a steak from IHOP that wasn't chicken fried. It's really about the
Yeah,
level of steak you should be having at IHOP.
I have to admit, I've never had the steak there, though I bet you it's good. Steak and eggs is a great breakfast. So
Yeah, but breakfast steak is not the like you don't need to cook breakfast
It's
steak
usually
well.
breakfast steak you don't
well,
want it rare.
It's like if you go to like ordering steak at a non-steakhouse or like really high quality restaurant is just an amateur move right off the top. Because they're just gonna get they're gonna get the lowest cuts of meat.
Yeah.
It's like what's that place by my mom's house, Tim? The Riverside. The Riverside Tavern.
Oh yeah, I like the Riverside a lot.
Riverside's fine. Great fish and chips. Like they have certain things that they do well. There's steak on the menu. I don't know if anyone's ever ordered the steak.
Yeah, it's a bad move.
Why would you order the steak? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I've had steak at Sunnyside.
That's an even worse idea.
I like steak and eggs.
Again, steak with
How do you
steak
not
and
see the
eggs
difference?
Is not.
Well, I think there's a difference between breakfast steak and supper.
Yes,
steak.
Yes,
100%.
Breakfast steak is low quality steak.
Yes,
Sure, but it's still tasty and I like it.
sure, but
I agree
it's a
it's not
different.
supper steak.
It doesn't need to be prepared to the same degree of.
Correct.
And the breakfast steak that you're getting at that restaurant is exactly the same quality of steak that you'd order for dinner too, because it's the same steak.
Yeah.
I kind of like that kind of stuff. Am I not
So
allowed to like these things?
You
No,
can,
you
you can
are.
like them
You're
all you
100%
want.
allowed
Just
to.
admit that you just have bad taste.
Well, no. Obviously, if I thought it was in bad taste, I wouldn't have.
No,
it.
but it is
not
bad
even saying
taste.
bad
You have a
taste, but
low
just
rung
like-
for taste buds.
But just like I don't like seafood, but I can acknowledge that seafood done well is obviously very good because a lot of people enjoy it. I don't like scallops,
But don't
everyone
you
tells
know
me
you
scallops are
dare go to
amazing.
Red Lobster?
yeah, see, I feel like Red Lobster would jive more with someone who doesn't like seafood.
because then I could just get something fried.
Well, fried seafood is excellent.
Yes, I agree, but I'm also not willing to say that seafood prepared. Again, I don't like sushi, but
No,
I
sushi
am
is
sure that.
Sushi is
Sushi's
gross in
gross.
every situation. Inedible.
And look,
Garbage.
I don't eat it, but I
You
can
shouldn't. It's
appreciate
crap.
that it's probably delicious to the people who enjoy it.
It's not delicious to anybody. It's a status symbol. Oh, I'm eating sushi today. Look how fancy I am. Trash.
I don't 100% disagree with that.
So you think that everyone that eats sushi does it for that reason? They don't like
No,
sushi at all.
no.
It's
I-
only to be seen in the sushi
I
restaurant.
agree. I agree in the not a crazy person sense of there is a little bit of status behind ordering sushi.
Yeah, there's a peacock
But you also
element.
have to like it to order it.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's inedible. No one likes it.
because that's what
Garion.
everyone wants is to get enough money to order things that they don't
Don't
actually
like.
enjoy.
Yeah, that's the ultimate status.
That's the power move.
But like that happens all the time. Like people who eat like shark fin soup, for example. Apparently that tastes disgusting. But people eat it because it's so incredibly
I don't
expensive.
think that's about enjoyment. I think that's about experimentation.
Yeah,
It's about trying
I tried
things.
shark fin soup in Iceland actually.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. But
And that's
I tried it.
I tried black pudding in Scotland. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I just
Black
wanted to
pudding's
try it.
actually quite good.
Oh no. I even ordered it and they were like, "We don't actually eat that. That's kind of like a stereotypical thing." I'm like, "Oh, that's fine, but I'm gonna try it." It's terrible. It's like
I kinda like it.
it's like a rice cake dipped in sheep's blood.
well, what are the things that like when they brand cattle, Tim? What's the poker that they use? What's the official name for that? Is it a
I
brand?
think it's called a brand.
A brand?
Cattle
Okay, so
prod?
it's like someone took a brand and put that on your tongue, and that's how you live your life.
Or I'm a super taster and I can taste the subtle flavors in these foods that you can't. That you're
But I
I
glossing
feel like
over.
at that point you'd be tasting the fillet of fish remnants in the junior chicken you just ordered as the fryer grease.
Yeah,
hasn't
yeah,
changed.
you've gone the exact other way on this because you're only eating foods that have such few flavors.
not only eating these foods,
You
but
are
I have-
only eating these foods.
but I
What,
have
what
an
was the last?
affinity.
What was the last like really decent restaurant you went to?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I can't think of it. It was probably with you.
Okay,
Tell me-
where did you guys go the night before the
Somewhere
Friday?
in
the-
Minneapolis.
We went to a pub.
The Thursday before your wedding?
before
somewhere
my wedding,
in the-
we went to Bistro Le Coq. So yeah,
There you go.
that would have been the last time that Tim went to like a nice restaurant.
We went to a nice place in Boston, the Chinese place in Chinatown. That was quite
It
nice.
was a hole-in-the-wall Chinese shop that the locals said you got to go to this way. It was good.
Yeah, and there you go. That
And we went, it was great.
proves every point. You just found a hole in the wall in Boston that a local told you about, and it was really good. Was that better than Panda Express?
Yes.
No.
Yes, it was.
It didn't have homemade chicken. It didn't have the chicken balls and red sauce that I like, or the orange chicken, which is delicious.
Look, man, I'm 100% with you on the Americanized Chinese food. That's my favorite kind of Chinese food too. But anyone can make you chicken balls and red sauce.
Yeah, but the people can do it better or worse.
Is there a better or worse? It's fucking deep fried.
It's just
I
it's
like
just
the place
battered
we went to
chicken
in
breast.
Boston, but I like the other stuff a little bit more. I'm allowed to have these differentiations in my taste. And you know what? A lot of people agree with me.
No.
You don't. That's
I
fine.
don't. People, you're right when you say there are a lot of other. If the sentence was a lot of other people eat at these restaurants,
The
you're
answer would
correct
be
in
yes.
saying that. If the sentence is a lot of people eat at these restaurants and definitively say that they would rather eat there than if they had $20 more in their pocket, they wouldn't go anywhere else. That is a false statement.
I can't remember the last time I would spend more than $30 on an entree or a meal. I just can't.
I
But
generally agree with you, but if I had the money,
You
I would
would
do it.
But the thing is, he's saying that he's not going to pay more than $30 for a meal, and so this is why he thinks that these foods
Yeah.
are the best.
There you go.
That's what it all boils down to. If you pay
wouldn't
more
matter how
money
much money
for
I-
better food, you're going to get better quality of food. It's going to
Wouldn't
be.
matter how much
It's
money
going to
I
be. Why? Why wouldn't it matter? So you
I would
would
still
just
buy
prefer to
anything.
eat shitty food over good food.
No, it's just I think this food is really good and it's economical.
Well, I
and
mean, but you also have nothing to compare it to. You
I think there is-
just said that.
I think I would feel incredibly wasteful spending like $120 on a piece of meat. I think that would be hard for me to justify. I think considering, I think that is a poor use of one's resources, in my opinion. Other people feel differently, obviously.
How
They're
much
free to do it.
combined? How much do you spend on cigarettes and coffee a day?
I don't know. Not that much, actually.
Over $20.
No, because I've reduced my consumption. I'm down to like 4 or 5 cigarettes a day.
No,
So
that's such a lie. I saw you 2 weeks ago and you smoked
I was at
over
a
a packet a
wedding.
day.
I was at a wedding.
No,
That's
you're just
it.
lying. You're just lying. You spend upwards of $23 a day on those two things combined.
No, it's like you were with me in Minneapolis. I wasn't going through a pack a day by any means. I mean, I would say
Inside reports from people who are around you say that you are smoking a pack a day. So
No,
plus
it's
the
not close.
2 to 5 coffee that you buy a day.
probably 1 to 2 a day I buy.
So okay, you're over $20 a day in cigarettes and coffee alone. Yet you won't spend more than $30 on a meal.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't feel comfortable, to be honest with you.
You know,
Like,
just
when I
for
went
you,
to
I'm gonna go get a $300 steak tonight.
Like I went to Vegas with some friends a couple of years ago at a conference, and they went out to some one of Gordon Ramsay's steakhouses or whatever, and spent an inordinate amount of money. And they said the food was good, but like I said, no, I wasn't going. And I went to the Subway at the Paris hotel, and I spent $5.99 on a spicy Italian. And honestly,
then when it lost $500 playing blackjack.
it's a separate question. But I feel good about myself that instead of spending all this money on food, I saved some money. And so that's the way my mind works.
Tim, to quote Retta, treat yourself. Gotta treat yourself sometimes. I'm not saying go to a fancy steakhouse every night, but just lay off the Chili's for 3 days and just go get a nice meal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very pragmatic when it comes to spending money. I've never had money, but again, to say in a hypothetical situation,
Olive Garden or Teroni?
Teroni.
Of course.
Like there are, and look, there are some nights where I'm like, it's in my best financial interest from a larger picture sense to go to Olive Garden. But if I had unlimited resources, I would not ever go to Olive Garden.
See, that's where we differ. If I had unlimited resources, I would still go to Olive Garden.
Okay.
And
It's
again,
like
this is why
Warren Buffett-
Warren
Buffett's one of the wealthiest men on
This
earth.
is why, he's also like a crazy person.
And he goes to Dairy Queen.
He's slightly less crazy than that guy who appears on TVs with the question marks on his suit and said he's going to get you money.
The Riddler?
Yes, the Riddler.
He is
You know who I'm
Mark-
talking about.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Why? That's a ubiquitous commercial, Tim, from the 90s. I feel like that'd be like in your wheelhouse. Zasco, Lasco.
I can't remember.
I'm going to Google question mark suit government guy.
I get him confused with the Cash Man all the time.
Oh, the cash man's
Oliver,
great.
the Oliver Jewelry
Cash man, he's got all the cash. You got some gold or silver? He's got you some
guy.
cash.
Yeah, he's got you some cash. Definitely has you some cash.
Question mark suit guy is something that
Sure.
Google auto filled in. There he is, Matthew Lesko.
We should effort this.
There he is.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, yep.
He's sitting on Capitol Hill telling you how he can get you money back from the government.
Yep.
Question
Okay,
mark.
so I do recognize this character.
Do you have a stronger affinity for him or the Six Flags old guy?
Oh, that guy's weird.
Like you. You're weird, so I figured you'd like him.
He just
What a
wants to
normal-
take the kids to Six Flags.
Yeah. Give
What
me
a
your
normal
children.
Quite a normal person, except when people are out to get me in some way.
But you feel like people are always out to get you.
No, I don't.
You do. I'm on a text thread with you where every complaint that you have is that people are out to get you.
No, just if I've not been treated well, I don't just shrug my shoulders and I'm denied lunch when I wanted or something like that.
All right, so what happened to you this morning that you were complaining about? I intentionally read past the part. You said that you got disrespected at the grocery store.
Yeah, so I decided this afternoon, well, it was really this morning, and at least with a separate question topic. I was like, so I wanted some wings. And in my opinion, grocery store.
Whoa, 1 second. What time were you at the grocery store trying to get wings?
Well, so I got it to the parking lot at 10:50, and even I thought this is a little early. So I actually waited in my car for 10 minutes listening to a podcast until it hit 11 to go in. I figured, okay, it's 11 o'clock now. So I went in to get the wings at the grocery store, and
You felt shame buying these wings.
at 10:50, yes, but at
Oh,
11.
but at 11, you know.
Okay, so I misunderstood. I thought your thought process was they wouldn't be ready at 10:50.
Well, they weren't.
Well, they
ready,
probably
but-
weren't ready at 11 either, because no maniac is going in besides Tim to buy wings at 11 a.m.
No, I'm glad though. I'm glad there was a
11 is the
moment where he
start of
felt shame about this.
Like, well, just to me, 11 is from 11 to 1 is a reasonable time frame where anyone could be having lunch.
I agree with you.
So
No.
Because
If
that's
you're
the time
someone who's
McDonald's
going to
turns
eat,
over,
then go to
That's
fucking
what
McDonald's and have your lunch then.
That's what
If you're
McDonald's
going to
does
have
for
lunch
lunch.
at 11 a.m., you are someone that brings your lunch with you.
That's fair.
You're not
I
going
also,
to. You're not going to a restaurant. Most restaurants aren't open at 11
I
a.m.
also rarely eat breakfast, so I do eat lunch on the earlier side of things. So I might not be the best person to go to. With
So you're
this.
eating
So, yeah.
breakfast at 11 a.m. is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically.
You're not eating
So-
lunch.
they didn't have the wings cooked up for me. And I was annoyed and asked, well, when are they going to be ready? And she said at lunchtime. And I said, well, it is lunchtime. And anyway,
That
I
is a
didn't get
very
my wings.
vague answer for someone to respond with.
How about
Yeah,
noon?
and I didn't get my wings.
But if they had said that, I would have been like, okay, that's justifiable. But for someone to look back and go, lunchtime, that's
Well,
a
they
very
didn't-
vague time
wasn't-
period.
It wasn't that tone of voice. It was like a positive tone of voice. But I was like, but it is lunchtime. And like, I'm not waiting around here. I already waited in the parking lot. Say that, but I already waited in the parking lot 10 minutes.
You didn't bring that up as a part of your complaint? I already
No,
waited
I-
10 minutes for you to make them.
So anyway, I left. I went across the street, got lunch, and went home. But I was annoyed.
What'd you get?
I went to Subway.
What'd you get?
I got a sweet onion chicken teriyaki, a 6-inch.
Was it the sub of the day?
No, it wasn't.
Today's Friday. Friday's tuna, I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, I would not. I don't like tuna fish. So anyway, so that was what happened to me today, and it was about. I think that you can get. I think if you start getting lunch at 11, that's an acceptable time. Before 11, it's a bit strange.
I mean, I don't. As a part of my diet, I don't eat until like 5 o'clock every day. So my
Yeah,
opinions
well,
on
that's-
lunch and breakfast are now just out the window. I stopped eating them.
I mean, that's unhealthy in a different way.
Well, it's not.
But-
It's not unhealthy.
Well, of course it is. It's
No,
against
well,
a person's
well,
physiology.
It's not actually because I've now.
Do you remember the pyramid? The pyramid?
Yeah, the pyramid. That was really good advice.
Yeah.
Go back and look at those pyramids. You know, you should be eating bread.
If you're eating 17 meals a day, you might be able to get all those servings in.
Well, that's fair. I'm saying our ancestors were not only eating at 5 o'clock in the evening and never
Yeah.
like
They also had average lifespans of 17 years.
that had to do with healthcare and with infectious diseases, not with nutrition.
I would say that even though I eat in a very limited scope, I still have 2 full meals during my eating window. And I would say that nutrients and protein in a healthy diet rest in the favor of Pat Mayo over Tim.
To be fair, Tim might also die of salmonella because he's eating wings too quickly out of the fryer. You don't have time to cook them. Just give them to me.
Why do you just buy wings like out of the box?
No. I like the way that the deli wings come. Like I like their
You
size.
go,
Is this
you
a
go to
metro?
a
Where are
grocery
you?
store to get wings instead of going to
They're
like.
really
you think
good.
you think those are better wings than like places that serve
Let's go to a
wings?
pub or something.
Well, but it's
Yeah.
11 a.m. I'm not going to get them at one of those
Well,
places.
you can't even get them at the grocery store. So what's the fucking difference?
I thought I could, and there have been different times. If you go, I mean, if you have time and you're around a grocery store in the late morning, the lunch stuff will come out at different
You're
periods.
going on a grocery walk.
Yeah, is that like a?
The malls aren't open yet.
Yeah,
You go to the grocery store.
Is it like when they like you've seen all the deals at the mall already that you switch to grocery stores? The Pat Mayo quick tip on the grocery store: don't go down the aisles.
But now there are health food aisles.
But you don't eat the health food.
But that's a separate point from what you just said, which is that never go down the aisles. But there are health food aisles now.
Yeah, but you don't.
Like if I want to buy some boost,
you don't need to go to the health food aisle. You just buy raw vegetables and cook those.
No, but
buy
like
raw
if I'm
meat
looking
and
at-
cook those. Yeah, if you want to be fucking lazy about it, you can go
No,
down
but like
and
I'm
add
trying
on
to
those
do-
calories.
like I've been trying to drink Boost recently or
Why?
Ensure.
Why are you trying to drink? Sure, just drink water.
Well, no, it's a
Is
good
that
meal
too much?
replacement.
Water is always the best
Yeah,
option.
you just drink water.
Well, it's a meal replacement.
Just eat a
But
healthy meal.
what meal are you replacing?
It depends. Sometimes breakfast, sometimes lunch, but I usually try to have one during that one of those times.
Okay, step one to being healthier: cut that shit out. Boom.
It's really good for you. Dietitians online I was reading said it was good. I went on the
Dietitians
Google.
online.
Doctor
Yeah, I went on the
Boost
Google,
Boost
like, you
Incorporated
don't-
didn't really recommend
Dr.
it.
Boost recommends 5 boosts a day.
Well, but like you always tell me, go on Google and look things up. So I did.
No, I told you to go onto Google to look things up to see what the caloric intake and how much of those calories were actually coming from fat was.
And it recommended that it's okay, that it's good. Some people benefit well from these daily meal supplement drinks. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll try that.
Those sound like famish people. Like if you weren't eating, you have the meal replacement to give you some energy for the day. Not, hey, I'm just going to add a meal by having a boost.
No, but like instead of lunch, I'll have a boost, or instead of breakfast, I'll have a boost. I thought that was the point.
And see, that sounds like a terrible idea. Just make yourself breakfast. Or just don't eat breakfast.
Well, no, I got to eat. One should eat breakfast. I'd rather skip lunch than skip breakfast.
Oh no, because then the whole thing is that if you don't eat breakfast, and like let's say you last ate a meal like 9 o'clock at night, your body starts to burn the fat instead of the carbohydrates that are in your system. So, I mean, realistically, if you don't eat breakfast or lunch, it depends on what time you can get to the gym every day. But if you can work out on the empty stomach, and that's when you're doing your cardio days, the
That's the best time to
cardio will
work
be
out.
far more effective in actually burning fat. Because other than that, you're just burning energy until you burn all the energy, then it starts to burn the fat. If you diet this way, then work out that way to lose weight, then boom, you're going to lose more weight.
Yeah, I mean, this is what they must have taught you at kinesiology school, right?
Do you disagree with me?
I actually don't know one way or the other. I suspect that most dietitians do recommend you eat breakfast. That pretty much none recommend skipping it. So I think that would be provocative to say you shouldn't eat breakfast. I'll say that.
I'm saying for my specific diet, with the way that I work out, that's the way that I do it.
And that would be unorthodox. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's quite unorthodox.
I know a lot of people jumping on the intermittent fasted diet.
Yeah,
Well, I
I've
know
actually
people
seen a
who
couple
go,
of
like,
people in the last week.
I mean, I know people are doing like real fast diets where they don't eat for 4 or 5 days.
No, that's just the Arabs, on Ramadan.
No, there are people. No, I do know people. Well, no, they just fast during daylight. They eat.
That is
during
also true.
It's a joke. Don't need your geopolitical thoughts on the issue, Tim. Just laugh it off. Move on.
I wasn't giving geopolitical thoughts.
All right, so what made your overrated list?
Okay, the overrated list was Cinnabon first. Their cinnamon buns are not that good.
I feel like Cinnabon is properly rated, that people just don't really
I feel
like
like
it.
no one really.
No,
That's,
but see, it's in every mall you go to. So people,
Yeah,
but
because
I
it's
think
a fucking mall
yeah,
food.
they're in malls and they're in train stations. That's it.
so there must be a coterie of people who do like them. I just don't. And even if the taste is okay, like after 4 or 5 bites, you're kind of done and you have a ton left. So
Yeah,
Cinnabon makes that list.
They serve one thing and it's inherently too sweet.
And it's a fringe item that people just don't like
Yeah.
to begin with.
Yeah, if it's rated at
like
all,
cinnamon.
yeah, it's overrated.
It's
So
like,
I can agree with that.
I wouldn't, but it sounds like a once a year thing.
Yeah, see, I'm more
Yeah.
of a. I'll take the Pillsbury ones in the can that you buy at this grocery store and bake in your own oven over those.
And you're worried about Boost in your diet.
If one were to have a cinnamon bun, I'm just telling you how.
You seem to have such strong takes on cinnamon buns to begin with that it seems like you're eating them a lot.
Part of the mystique of of the corner is that I have takes on things.
Yeah, but then why do you? But you're admitting that you're eating these cinnamon buns, and your takes on other things you just don't even associate with it. Like, where does In-N-Out fall on your overrated list?
It's at the top.
And how many times have you ever eaten an In-N-Out burger in your life?
And I have said this in public before. I haven't.
So I don't understand how that could correlate.
Because
that doesn't make any sense. You're fake news.
That this is like the sushi discussion we had. There is a peacock aspect to people who like to say, "Oh, I'm going to be like one of the plebs."
But you don't know that.
You don't. It could be. You could honestly take a bite and have it be the best burger ever.
Of the three of us, who's eaten it In-N-Out? Me and Paul. Excellent.
Excellent. I've heard that.
If you went to Instagram, you would find more In-N-Out burgers being taken photos on Instagram than all other fast food combined.
Because
so what does that matter, though?
It's an event because you can only get it in certain places. So that warrants being like, hey, I finally get to try In-N-Out burger.
First thing Feinberg does when he goes to San Diego, gets some In-N-Out.
Yeah, and look, I have no problem with that. Like, I'm not going to take a picture of my fucking McDonald's. Because
I'm not going to take a picture of my In-N-Out either. That's not me.
I'm just saying, between the two, I'd be far more likely to take the picture of. It's like seeing something rare. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's like going to SeaWorld.
There you go.
It's overrated.
Where you can get delicious whale burgers. But you don't know if it's overrated or not.
And the toppings to burger ratio is way off.
How do you know? You've never actually had it. You've only ever seen pictures of it.
Well, yeah, but again, that's
so
like
you
saying,
don't know. Just admit you don't know. Say, my name is Tim Andercust. I'm triggered, and I'm an idiot. Say it.
It's like saying, I've never been to the Louvre, but if you haven't, that means you have no opinion on the Mona Lisa because you haven't seen it with your own eyes.
But you have seen it with your own eyes. It's a fucking picture.
Yeah, it's a picture. You can't taste the picture.
Actually haven't seen it personally.
That's
the same thing. Oh, you can't have an
That is not the same thing. If you're judging a piece of art, which can be recreated, and you can see because it is a visual thing they say. It's not like they let you walk up to the little tiny Mona Lisa, give it a lick. Oh, they use the right type of acrylics with this. No, that doesn't make any sense.
Just saying that
you're just saying I don't have a response for this, so I'm going to make up something that totally doesn't relate.
There's something tyrannical about saying that experience is the only modicum that can ever matter.
For food, it is.
Yeah, it has a taste to it.
Look, I'll say this as someone, and Pat, I'm sure got to see a bunch of cool things on your honeymoon this year.
Like, yeah.
You know, I got to go to Italy and see so many amazing things. And, you know, half the time you get there and you're like, okay. It looks like the picture that I saw of it. Because that's really all it is. That's, you know, but food is food. You have to taste it.
I don't necessarily think that's true. And I think we all also.
What do you mean? What do you mean you don't think that's true? Do you not taste? Is it because you can't taste things? Is that what we're boiling back to here?
I think there are a lot of foods that a lot of people do not eat because they do not like the look or smell of, not because they don't like the taste of.
That's fair, but this is a burger. It's a hamburger. It in no way differs from.
Yes, and if someone said they wouldn't eat Brussels sprouts because they don't like the look of Brussels sprouts, you probably wouldn't take their advice on food very seriously, would you?
Yeah.
Well, but that person is not the People's Tribune, as I am.
Okay, that'll do it. That's enough.
Oh, okay. You get all right. Well, let's postpone the.
No, we're not even postponing it. If this is gonna be how ludicrous your takes are, you've jumped the shark on.
It's about TV. I wanted to make a point about TV.
You've become a caricature of yourself.
But to be fair, the shark still exists because he would never cut off its fin to make horrible, horrible soup.
Well, he would because he's very anti-animal.
I'm not anti-animal. I just think that stuff is kind of. I actually do think shark fin soup is cruel, but.
Okay, well, there is one thing that I wanted to talk about.
Here we go. That's actually a great segue.
Yes. So there is a restaurant locally around us. It's called Antler, and they serve big game food. And one of the things that they do is that the big game it's done in a way that's like okay. Like.
Oh yeah, I've had like big game out west, and it's actually pretty decent.
No, but like it's like despite being killed, the way that they kill the animals, the big game animals, and the way it's ethically whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's something with the frog. I can't even say it.
The foie gras,
which apparently is a.
Well, people get very up in arms about foie gras. I am not. I'm having some delicious foie tonight. I get foie wherever I go because it's fucking tasty. It's the best.
I just wouldn't want to eat the sort of foie gras like they stuff down the goose's throat or whatever.
Yeah, those are the best. That's the best kind of foie gras, Tim.
That to me is kind of cruel. I'm not saying that like you shouldn't have it. I'm just saying I would find it cruel and I wouldn't want
Why?
Because I think that's cruel.
Who cares? It's
Well,
fucking,
I
it's a
care.
fucking animal. You don't,
like
but you don't care.
I do care because
You,
I
no,
like
you
animals.
don't. You don't care.
No, I do. I like animals. I'm sympathetic to them. Now,
Is
as
it
long
a
as the
Canada
animals
Goose? Because those guys are fuckers.
Oh, yeah,
It's-
you'll wear their jacket, but you won't eat their livers.
Well, I would eat their liver if it wasn't like they weren't force fed mechanically. Like,
But
to
those
me,
are the best kind of flaw, Tim.
I don't.
You force
I
it
don't
all
even-
in so it gets real big.
Either way.
I don't even doubt that, but it seems to me the unethicality of it outweighs the flavor of it. It's one of these things you have to balance the different.
Yeah,
Values.
the thing that you balance is the flavor that you're buying. It's delicious. We'll move on from that because the foie gras at this place is not done like that.
Yeah.
Everything is like the ethical treatment of animals at this big game place called Antler. So all of a sudden, protesters show up on the front door. And it becomes like a story that they're like, it's not a chain, it's not anything.
No,
it's one restaurant.
It's a local restaurant.
And
Tim, and just so you're aware, they weren't protesting that it was a single owned restaurant and not a chain restaurant.
No, I'm sure they are not. I think I can see where this is going.
Okay, cool.
so
Just wanted to
the
clarify.
protesters were all up in arms because it was a vegan protest that not only were they serving animals, they were serving like big game stuff. Like
And they
you
didn't
get like
have vegan options.
yeah, there
and
was no vegan options on the menu. Although I don't know
At a
why a
game-
vegan
at a
would
game-
go.
at a game restaurant.
At a game
yeah.
restaurant, I don't know what you're gonna do with your.
Yeah.
I think there is something vegan on the menu too, though.
They ended up putting a special. That was their victory. Was like there had never been a vegan special on this board, but now there is.
But this really broke down. One, if I had shown up and there was fucking protesters outside, I would have just stood outside of the door and lit up my cigarette and just started blowing smoke in people's faces. First thing I would have done, and just been very pissed off the entire time. But the guy that owns the place
Great move.
went to the front of the big window in the front, brought a butcher's table over, and while the protest was going on,
A deer
started
carcass?
chopping up some deer carcass.
Yep.
And it was the best move I've ever seen. And now,
Their business has got
since this has happened,
exponentially.
you can't get a booking there for 2 months. Sold out
That's
across the
fantastic.
board.
I'm very
Can't
happy
get
for
a
that,
seat.
man.
And they went
Good for
back
that
and
man.
started to protest more. And all it did was bring more attention. But if you're these stupid protesters, first of all, who has time to protest at 11 o'clock in the morning? Like, get a fucking life. Get a job. Quit collecting
Yeah.
unemployment.
Chickens.
Quit collecting unemployment that my taxes are paying. And
Oh no, they're not unemployed. They're living off grants. You can be sure of that.
Either way, get a fucking job. Next. Also, don't be a vegan. Like, figure it out.
Well, I think this actually dovetails very nicely with your discussion earlier about the New York Times article. It got to do with the politicization of food.
But the thing is, I don't understand what their end game is. Are they like? Do you know how that reads to me? Protesters protesting this place. Protesters try to put local man out of business.
Yeah.
That's what this is. Like, I would get it if they went to KFC and be like, you jammed too many chickens into the thing. That at least logically makes some sense to me.
Yeah.
This
But they know
makes
they
no
can't shut
sense
down
to me.
KFC, right? They know they can't shut
Yeah,
down
but
KFC.
all they ended up doing was making this guy rich.
Yeah,
and they brought free publicity to it.
and villainize
Because
themselves.
they're
yeah.
more-
Yeah, and they made themselves seem really stupid.
Because again, at the very
Because they
least,
are.
when you go after KFC, you are David. You want to be David in the public perception. You don't want to be Goliath. You don't want to be
No,
the
I mean-
terrible person who's, you don't want to be Walmart putting small businesses out of business. So yeah, it
I mean,
was-
ultimately, you can boil it down to their argument being, I don't eat meat, and you shouldn't either. And I'm going to use whatever means I can to feel that way. The same with that New York Times article, or New Yorker, article, boils down to, I'm not a Christian, you shouldn't be either. That's essentially the argument these people are making. They're trying to politicize food because, A, that's how rich and soft our society is. We don't have real problems to fight amongst each other.
You know what is more rich and soft than our society?
Foie gras.
delicious force-fed foie gras.
But like, even though I think the force-fed foie gras is unethical, I wouldn't prevent you from eating it, and I wouldn't like lecture you about it. Just, hey, that's not for me. You do you, I do me. But
It's a very millennial statement right
I know.
there.
No, just not-
It's a
it's-
trigger
it's-
millennial.
It's true.
I can be very libertarian on some things, and this is one of them. Like, just because it's not for me doesn't mean you shouldn't be allowed to have it. But there is a danger, and there's something caustic in our society where every single choice you make is becoming politicized. The types of books you read, the magazines you subscribe to, the television shows you watch, now the foods you eat, the clothes you wear.
No,
But that's
but it's people like you who politicize everything that have made this come to fruition. It's not me who's doing it. I don't care what anyone does.
I don't think it's like,
just don't bother me.
Really
Tim has real takes on like, oh, Tim, you're the first person to be like, oh, you read that lefty rag? That's you. That word's coming out of your mouth.
Well, if it's a political rag, then it's okay to be political. I'm talking about like Sports Illustrated or like.
Yeah. But it could be. But it doesn't necessarily need to be. Like, let's say if it's, I don't know, The Atlantic. Oh, left-wing rag. Can't
well,
read
after
that.
what the Atlantic did.
Can't read that.
But again,
trash.
they at least
I'm not talking about what they did 2 weeks ago. I mean, this is what you've been saying for the past 10 years.
But they at least report on.
This is the first thing that occurs to you when anything happens is, how is this politicized? That's the first thing that enters your brain. So it seems very hypocritical. You're calling people. What's that?
Well,
I'm saying he's a poli-sci professor.
Before he was a poli-sci professor, this is how he thought.
That's true.
So I will plead guilty that I have not, in the past anyway, been helpful when it comes to the depoliticization of it. I'd be the first to cop to it. And it's sort of the last 6 to 8 months as I've been thinking more about the subject, is the more I think I appreciate just how poisonous it is that everything, and I mean everything, has become politicized now. And I don't think that's conducive to a healthy society. And I don't think that allows for the sort of public spiritedness that we need to sort of live peacefully. Because it's one thing to have your own political views. It's another to disagree with someone's political views. It's a third to say that person is evil and I want to take away their livelihood. And that's what those protesters outside of Antler are doing. It's not that, hey, I don't believe in eating animals. It's that person, all they know is that eating animals is wrong, and therefore anyone purveying the eating of animals is an evil person too, and must be shut down and no platformed at any cost. I mean, it's a small example, but it's a microcosmic expression for what's going on in society, and it's condemnable. And if we continue down this path, I can't imagine what life is going to be like 25 years from now. I just think that the politicization of every aspect of our life is making us miserable, making us unpleasant, and is only going to make us worse.
Well, even to piggyback on that, I think a lot of even what he's saying, when you don't have proper political discourse from either side, that people just get mad at each other, is that, well, the three of us are friends. We give each other a hard time for the purposes of the show. I like to yell at Tim.
Yeah.
But this is how people on the other sides of the aisle, the way that I yelled at Tim earlier,
truly
is how, like,
that's how
their arguments go.
Yeah.
Like,
and
that's crazy. And they're not doing it for entertainment purposes.
Yes.
No, they mean it in their bones.
Yeah, well, I think the thing too, like, it's a larger issue, but even the fact, if we go back to the fact that we've been discussing, for the most part, an article that appeared on MSN.com, which I didn't still think produced content.
Hey, you can find some Pat Mayo DraftKings shorts up on the old MSN video player.
But there's such.
I thought MSN was gone. That's why you guys don't talk to me on Messenger anymore, right? That's what everyone's holding.
Tim's the last guy logged in. I'm still on ICQ, so here's where I'm at. Or Miranda, where you can see who was reading your OA status.
Oh, that's
real tricky. It was the original Facebook hack.
But I think that there's just so many avenues for expression now, and we talk about this a lot in terms of media, but like for so much of journalism at this point is just you have to have a take on something, that now everything is fair game for takes because we need content.
Well, no, we need content, but it also boiled down to that anyone can be a journalist. Like someone called me, like I think I was out with my wife, and like we met some friends that I had never met before, and someone had introduced me. It's like, oh, Pat's a journalist. I'm not a journalist.
No,
I am not a journalist, and I have zero integrity. I say crazy things. That's what I do.
Yeah,
I produce video. I'm an opinionist of sports or humorous takes. But when anyone has a Twitter account or anyone has the ability to put up a blog, before, when you were paying for things like the failing New York Times, or one of these magazines, whether it be Time Magazine, the National Review, it didn't matter what it was, the people that were getting paid to be journalists for it came along with a certain integrity to it, that you felt like they were doing
and there were levels of vetting to
get those jobs, and it went through 2 editors. But now that I can start up a blog and talk about the same things that they're talking about, but I can do more of it, and it's free, and I don't even have to do research. I can just say stuff, and people will believe it. Those people just wiped everyone else out. So now the people who were really good journalists to begin with now have to get people to read their stuff, or they're going to be broke, for one thing. And they're not going to have any money, so they now have to feel the way to conform to that. They now have to do less research things. They need to have hotter takes to make sure that people click on it. And you end up with just craziness, and you end up with
itself.
you end up with fake news that people believe.
Yeah.
And sometimes the opposite happens in that these columnists will not take provocative positions that they would have taken 20 years ago because the fear of being Twitter mobbed and the fear of being like socially destroyed
and
because
fired
of opinion can destroy a person's life now because that person had a position on some social issue I don't agree with. Well, I found out FedEx sponsors them. You better not use FedEx anymore. I mean, there's something I think gross about that. That FedEx is just a company. The idea is, if you're patronizing FedEx, you're giving money to either this pro or anti-abortion person who's taking a stand. Like that is corrosive. That is not helpful.
Yeah.
We want people that have interesting, provocative takes that are thought through and edited. And there's a chilling effect based on the site. You know what? Another person is probably not going to open an Antler-like store in Toronto for quite a while because while this guy is able to handle the blowback, maybe he's the perfect sort of person to deal with it. For every one of him, there's 30 other interesting entrepreneurs who are scared witless by that sort of Twitter mob, or sorry, that actual mob, and won't do it.
All right, that'll do it on CUST Corner 12. Thank you for watching. I would like to thank Tim Andercust.
Tim Andercust.
That is not my name.
For being on the line. Sorry we yelled at you so much. Now I think I think we can retire chain food conversation from the show forever.
I think that's probably for the best.
I'm perfectly comfortable. I have a lot of things I want to talk about, like TV ratings and stuff that we didn't get a chance to touch. So there's lots of other topics.
Rating television shows or television ratings
No,
themselves?
the fact that TV shows are getting 30 shares again, and people said it couldn't be done.
You want to talk about Roseanne, don't you?
And the Masters, we could have talked about too. But anyway, we'll postpone television rating questions to the next time.
Yeah, but you also think that leaving your TV on a channel affects TV ratings.
I no longer think that.
That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Tim Nielsen cast.
I should be a Nielsen fan.
All right, I'll do it. Garion Thorne. Follow him on Twitter at Garion Thorne.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no worries.
CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner, CUST Corner, hee hee.